All right, folks,
Might
going to
depend
call the
on-
meeting to order.
Time for maybe an e-bike.
Are there any additions or changes to the agenda? Well, I'm going to make one addition, and that is a little further down, I'd like to open up a discussion on how we address the need to communicate with Two Rivers Ottauquechee Regional Commission regarding things that we don't like, so that we can get on the record and have standing, so that we can go on from there to send suggestions or complaints to LURB.
Herb?
Yeah. So we'll put that on the agenda if that's okay with everyone. I need a motion to approve the minutes from June 2nd meeting. You all have a copy of them in your packet.
I'll move to accept the minutes from the last meeting.
Okay, is there a second?
A second?
And how about discussion? Any corrections or changes that need being made? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. So moved. So now, Mr. Kyle Katz of Two Rivers Ottauquechee Regional Commission will do a presentation on a couple more chapters. Kyle?
All right, thank you. All right, thank you, Bruce. So today we're doing a few different things. We're looking at the utilities and facilities and education chapters, utility and facility chapter and public services, and the telecommunications facilities chapters. So that's chapters 5 and 6. Their telecommunications is fairly short. That one will mainly focus on looking at the recommendation language, because that's what's used in 248A, the Public Utility Commission telecommunication permitting. And the utility and facility chapter, you'll see I've made some changes as we go through, but there are a few areas that we'll want to focus on for some discussion, where we need additional information. And then I've brought a few of the current maps for the utilities and facilities plan and the transportation map. I don't expect any changes to the transportation map. It's really just the transportation data layer. But we can review those and see if there are changes to either that we'd like to see. And then I'd like to discuss potentially coming up with a date for the first of 2 public forums. The first one would be essentially introducing what is a town plan, how is it used, what's the process of updating it, what's the adoption process, things like that. Just more of an introductory public forum, whereas the second public forum later on will be more when we have a completed draft that can then go out to the public for review and comment. So with that said,
When we do our second one, that'll be a give and take where we can answer questions.
yeah, the first one will be more of just a presentation from me on what is a town plan, why does a town have a plan, who writes it, how is it used, what are the different mechanisms you need a town plan for, and then our process moving forward in terms of timeline and our current update right now. So I will share my screen.
Could you speak up a little, please?
Yes, sorry. So I'll just share the screen, and then I'll see if I can. There we go. Okay. So I'm putting on the screen, for those of you over here, I've put on the screen the draft, utility and facility chapter. I have a couple.
Do you have some, Carl?
Uh,
I'll pass them about to do.
I think. Do I just have
Let me
telecommunications?
tell you, that
Shoot.
is like, you need to get
Can we turn
Did I
this,
not
this
sent out? Oh, no, I'm
You
sorry.
can read that, okay, right?
Thought I had extra copies. I printed several of the utilities and facilities. I have 4 telecommunications.
You know what, Ann is not going to be here, so I'm gonna take her,
Okay.
although I don't have her
That would be
here.
great.
Never mind.
Perfect.
There we go, thank you. Great. And I can
Can you
make
see
this
that file?
bigger.
Yeah, okay.
they want us to get close, Will.
There we go. There we go. Okay, so I've zoomed in. This language at the top, I think, was just put in at the end of the last process. We don't need it because we're adding language on potential upgrades for major infrastructure. So we're adding a table in for that. There's a requirement flagged in the last town plan review. So we can just remove that language at the top. I don't have any changes in this initial section on recreational facilities. And as I'm going through, if you all flagged anything or noticed anything that needs to be updated, now is the time to let me know. And I'll point out a section that Elaine kind of sent information last week regarding the fire equipment and updating that information. So I've since added that in, and you'll see it on the screen.
Is what you're showing up there what we're holding here?
Yes, but I did mention I added the information that Elaine had sent to me for the fire department.
Yeah.
And you have that in
I
your
do.
packets from, that were on the table.
So I've just put that in, because I think I sent all of this to you back in June.
Yeah.
So it was a little while ago. So you see I've just added some information on policing services. That was flagged in the last town plan review. So just making sure that information is in under public services.
So it says dispatch services, not actual response, because that's where we're finding a gap.
Okay. Is there anything we want to add?
So we have contracts now with the Windsor County Sheriff's Department when they have people on, I think is a staffing issue. We rely on Vermont State Police for 24/7 out of Rutland. And I've been concerned about response time there as well. I've had a conversation and have dropped it, but need to re-pick that up with the, Town of Weathersfield, the regional policing, that's a discussion, so. I don't know, but there's a concern about response time here and during the evening.
During the evenings, or?
Yeah, I was saying, you know, they don't have, I don't think they have people on at 2 in the morning sometimes,
And that one time they didn't come was actually in the daytime.
yeah.
Okay.
And that one,
Up at Hawk.
Yeah, correct, that's our understanding of it.
Okay, that's good to know, and this can get filled out with a little more detail. And then some information on the town meeting, fire equipment reserve fund, just being added to the fire department. It's a reserve fund of 150,000 for a year for a period of 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, and this is the information that Elaine, you had sent, and I've since incorporated. So you won't see it in the packets that you have, but I've added it in, just updating the information on the fire department vehicles. Okay, and then we've added some information on the Thompson Senior Center and the resources and services that they provide. I know there's mention of Plymouth Memory Tree and the Ottaquiche Health Foundation, potentially putting some information on both of those.
Yes, yeah. Ann Brown, who's on our board, is not here tonight, but she'll provide something with regard to the memory tree, and then I'll get something from Ottaquiche Health Foundation.
Okay, Ann is online, actually. It looks like
Oh,
Ann's trying to
okay.
speak. Ann, if you're on mute.
You unmute,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
gotta unmute yourself at the bottom.
Do we have the ability to unmute Ann, or no? Okay.
If you touch it, if you touch your screen, then it will show up at the bottom.
Is she talking?
She
Yes.
is, but it's on mute.
Wonder if you could send her a chat.
Is the volume turned up enough, Will?
It is. It's that little red mute button. It just shows that it's not been turned
Yeah.
off. Oh, here we go. Yeah, maybe if we click that. Oh, there we go.
Have you written anything in the chat to say, hey, I'm here, but I can't hear anything? I just had a thing that said the host would like you to unmute. I unmuted.
Okay. Ann, can you hear us?
But it's not doing any good, so.
Do we not have sound?
Hear you.
Is it, yeah.
Let him talk to her, she can't hear.
We can hear.
Okay, Ann, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Oh, there we go, okay. Great.
Good, I was wondering, I've been watching you scroll back and forth on there, and I haven't been able to get anything to go.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
That's
I
all right.
wasn't aware. So, Ann, we're just on the Plymouth Memory Tree and the Ottaquiche
Yeah.
Health Foundation. And Elaine mentioned you might be able to gather some information and send that to me.
Yeah. Yep, I will send a little brief blurb unless you need something right away, but I can sit here and create something in a minute or two.
I won't need it for some time, so you don't have to do it right now. You can send it to me.
Okay, but yeah, I will.
Later. Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so no changes in these sections here that I have, but again, if there are things that you notice that need to be updated, please let me know as we go along.
Okay.
I did just flag for everyone's attention, item number 9, under public buildings and other facilities open to the public. It is several other businesses are serving the public, and we may just want to be a little more specific than that. be beneficial, so, I don't know if there are any of these right now as to what we should mention.
Kyle, where are you? Where is item number 9?
It's-
Pages don't have numbers.
Okay, it is under, buildings and other facilities open to the public.
It's
So I have to
number
go-
9, which you have to kind of skip a page to get to.
Mhm.
Number 6 has some mind there.
So it would be, I think,
I've
at the
got-
top of the next page.
Community center, several other businesses, okay.
Yes.
Country store, we do have a country store,
Okay.
and the Plymouth Cheese Factory. Good Commons, and our very own dispensary.
Okay. Here, we can add those in.
Is Hawk Inn and Resort, that's open?
No,
No, it's not.
No,
Yeah,
The lady,
probably shouldn't be
It
listed.
should be a saltation.
the property next to
Salt
Echo
Ash
Lake
Inn?
Inn is the lady has 5 rooms for rent, and
Well,
next to,
next to the Echo Lake Inn.
cross a couple of
oh,
them out.
do you know the name of her business?
Is that the inn at Water's Edge?
No, across the street from it.
Oh, the Inn at Water's Edge?
No, across the street, the lady just bought that house and is renting 5 bedrooms.
Oh, okay.
She just was, been working with Angela, so I could get the name for you tomorrow.
can put Hawk under the stranded assets chapter.
Yeah,
Nobody's staying at the hall.
that's not happening now.
Not likely.
You mean like the
Down there.
restaurant?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
It's rapidly going down.
has there been any movement in
Shame.
They
the
bought,
last,
no, they bought the thing,
Yeah.
came up, somebody bought it, paid the taxes, came up with a plan, couldn't execute, or everyone's capital.
Bike by there and it just
Wildwood
gets worse and
Partners.
worse. Now there's somebody breaking.
it's a
into
challenging location. That's a tough location
the
to be in.
restaurant this morning.
Yeah.
Because you're
that
not,
other one?
you're just far enough from Killington, I
Also the
think,
Wilder
where
House
you
is-
kind of miss that, but,
He's not there anymore.
Oh, it's not.
okay.
I don't even know what that
Um,
was, to tell you the truth.
So now we're in childcare, and you'll see that I've added some information on kind of the current outlook for childcare, possible ways that the childcare facilities can expand or improve. And so I've relied a lot on letsgrowkids.org with this language, just in terms of the impacts that maybe what a lack of childcare has on the community, economically and in terms of workload for parents. And then some statistics on how the number of childcare facilities have changed since the last plan update in Plymouth and in adjacent towns.
So Killington has 24 licensed daycare centers?
No, it has two. That's the, that 4 is actually crossed out.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I can't see that.
Well, and it's also, it goes right over that
Okay.
horizontal line, so that doesn't help.
Cavendish has 4, that's a lot for a small little area like that.
It is, yeah, 4 licensed, and then 2 registered.
What is the difference?
You know, I knew at one time, one is more, I think, in-home versus the other is more like a standalone facility, is my, just top of the mind impression.
I think there's a fewer number of kids in a registered home. Like you can only accommodate so many, where licensed you
Yeah.
can, if you have the facility, you can have a lot of kids.
A larger facility. Okay, now, at this town priority project section, I will need some more assistance. So you'll see I've created a table broken out by project, priority costs, and potential funding sources. I've been able to add in a few project ideas that,
So this building was just renovated with a MERP grant, did you know that?
I believe I added that in,
So everything's gone to heat pumps, LED
Okay.
lighting,
I checked them all off that we have done all.
yeah,
oh, so all of these are completed?
with
Yeah.
the exception of the annex.
Yeah,
Okay, well then, I will need some ideas of
To what, add to
projects
it?
down the road to add to this.
would these be not highway projects, but building projects?
Yeah, because we covered highway and transportation.
What about the salt shed?
I was gonna say, that's the only thing that's
Yeah,
been requested.
okay,
Salt shed, okay.
and it's two components to it, right?
Yeah, we want a grant for it. That's the first one.
And
Is there
then
a
you want-
specific grant?
It's a
that-
salt shed and equipment shed.
Yeah,
right?
then you wanna
Yeah.
park something underneath
The,
one of
the
the
tractor, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, but I think that's,
with the
that-
salt shed.
this is what we've heard from the highway department. What I would say is, it's an expensive investment, and I don't know, like, is there another way to solve that problem, right? Like, they ran out of salt this winter, and is there like some kind of trucking arrangement that you can have? I don't know, but it seems like $250,000 is an expensive solution now.
For salt?
Yeah.
Which is expensive in itself.
Yes.
Is there a salt shed currently?
They keep it, some of it in with the sand, but there's not quite enough room, is my understanding.
Okay, so this would be a brand new salt shed.
We should stop using salt.
And what kind of grants are you looking at?
We understand at one time there were some grants out there for salt shed, so we wrote Charlie Kimball too and said, hey, if there's, something comes up to the legislature, there's extra money, they wanna know what you're interested, we're interested in a
Mhm.
salt shed.
Okay,
That's a big question mark with that.
Yeah.
yeah.
So the annex winterization, is that something that we would do, do you think?
That seems to have a pretty low impact, right? It stays cool in the summer because it's concrete floor, concrete walls. I
Mhm.
asked Lauren about heat pumps, she's happy with the comfort level in there, so. The roof was just replaced on it
Hmm.
recently, lead paint was abated, so that building's like in really good shape,
Oh,
and the
that's
driveway just
community
got,
center.
yeah.
But the annex,
Oh, the
though,
annex?
we don't need to do anything with that, do we?
It's kind of boarded up. They're
Okay,
using it as an office for a construction company
Yeah.
at the moment, but there's no,
we have it as a, right now, it's pretty low priority.
Yeah.
It is,
yeah.
In terms of the salt shed, where would that fit in?
that depends on your
priority.
perspective. From the highway department, I think it's pretty high priority, it feels like to them, but I asked the other question about,
I mean, the thing is, if it's high priority and high cost,
yeah,
then
Oh, excuse me.
in terms of time frame and
Yeah.
window for doing it, it might not be for a few years,
yeah, it doesn't feel like,
so.
On that salt shed, Jay, what does that entail that makes it cost so much?
if you look at our sand shed out there, there's a lot of concrete,
Yeah.
right, so it's just a structure, we get engineered plans just to get an idea of what it would cost, and if a grant came along, we would be ready to go, but it's just like, the size of that thing alone,
Hmm.
you know. the
I wonder
concrete's
about
just-
one of those steel Quonset hut type buildings.
Not a bad idea, I do think you need some, concrete to contain runoff, you don't want runoff and salt, right, with the river right there,
mm,
that would probably be, just my guess.
Well, the reason they use, it's expensive to use so much concrete because they're shoveling into it. So that can't be a wooden structure, it's gotta,
Yeah.
and the Quonset hut is a standalone thing. They're aren't they trying to add on to the side of that,
Yeah,
widen it? So
okay.
it's like- That's what you use from the get-go.
So you all have done a lot of work.
We have.
Yeah.
In terms of,
Yeah,
projects down the
back.
pipe, and it can be, you know,
Yeah.
like, kind of hazard mitigation projects too, if there are things that you're looking at.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Free side.
Yeah.
Currently, there's not much funding out there for hazard mitigation.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
but as
green
far as a
barrel.
project, is that something you'd speak to Dave Oster about?
Well, if it's like I mean, this does fall more under road infrastructure, but it could be bridges that need to be upgraded or,
That is ongoing with bridges, right? And like the Tyson Bridge is one I think about. Jeff would probably
Mhm.
know some of the bridges. But we've asked the taxpayers to pay close to $800,000 plus a $500,000 MERP grant for this building. All the highway gear is new, grader, trucks, right? And then we
Yeah.
have, working on new fire trucks and like, it's kind of hard to make the ask for a salt shed.
yeah. One thing that came to my attention, is, funding for parcel data updating with the contractor consultant that the town works with through like the listers and everything. So it's not a huge thing, but I know, I'm trying to remember who it was, reached out.
That
Oh.
was me.
Oh, okay.
That's why I'm here, I wanted to talk to you about that. To bring the mapping, the CAI mapping
Mm-hmm.
up to a weekly, update versus, once a year update in, late July or early August. And I got a contract from Franco, I could give it to you if you'd like to take a look at it.
I wouldn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, so to get
It's
to
more-
that next,
Yeah,
to get to that next level, he broke it up over 5 years, 2 years, and it's a little bit over $5,000. So one.
the weekly updates.
No, to get to the next level.
Oh, okay.
So right now, we're on the yearly level update, and to get to the weekly level update, it would be $5,600. And then on top of that, you have your maintenance cost and your contract cost. So to get all the way up there, to get to this level and maintain it for a year, to get to this level would be $5,600, then the maintenance for a year is $6,300.
And they typically update yearly, is that?
Most towns, they update weekly. There's a few excluded towns in the state, and we're one of them. For some
Okay.
reason, they put out a grant, and then, I wasn't here, but for some reason, did we not line up for the grant, Jay? or-
Like, that just preceded me too, but for some reason, like, we're only one of the only towns that didn't get this grant,
Yes,
and we don't know.
there's
why.
like a
Yeah.
handful of towns, and we're one of them, for some reason.
Okay.
No one can
Pete-
really give me
Yeah,
the.
Pete
knows about
Fellows, he mentioned there was funding a few years back, but that was it, and then it stopped, and that's all I know.
Yeah, that
It may have
was-
been before I started Two Rivers, so I'm not,
Okay, that was to get everybody up to speed, because I was looking for grants, and the grant that you received from the state last year, I think it was 23,000 or something to that effect. That's what I was wondering, if you could use some of that money, because it said mapping in that grant. So, that's why
yeah.
I reached out to Elaine, and Elaine gave me your information.
Okay, yeah, no, the mapping with the municipal planning grant is specifically for updating the maps in the town plan. So that's the scope of it,
Okay.
essentially. There are currently 5 maps in the town plan, and so it would be updating those,
Okay,
yeah.
So
Do you-
would this update be listed as a project on your grid here? A CAI update?
The CAI update, yeah, we can put that in.
and it's, It's
CIA,
out of Littleton, New Hampshire, and the company's
Mhm.
owned by Franco.
parcel
It's a
you
parcel
were-
mapping.
update,
Yeah,
parcel
it
mapping
tells you
update.
the boundaries, the court, you give them the deed, and then they map out the boundaries on a map. And then
Mhm.
the townspeople can go on the computer and look it up and see who
Yeah.
their neighbor is, or, everybody uses it, lawyer, a lot of people use it, the realtors,
Yeah. Yeah, I am aware it can generally take up to a year or more to actually see it updated. I've just, having worked with it for a while, I
yeah.
see something, oh, that happened, and then a year later, oh, it's still not
Yeah, yeah.
showing up,
Yeah,
so, But that's another item we can put on here.
Are all the bridges done that, was in the queue with, when Rick was here? Or are there bridges left to be worked on?
We put some bridges in the transportation
Oh, it's in
section.
transportation, okay,
Yeah.
got it.
And so that's where we may just not have many other options. So we can leave, my understanding based on this conversation is that these initial ones are already completed?
Yep.
Okay.
No solar panels because of our location. We've explored that several times.
Okay. Not completed. Because, oh, okay,
But
hold
heat
on.
pumps were.
Yeah.
You ran a cut.
And then I'll just say local funds for the annex weatherization. And then salt shed pursuing grant funding. And I'll just put high for explore addition of solar panels and heat pumps, even it's completed, it's done. So but then for the CAI parcel mapping update, in terms of priority,
It's something we've been trying to do since I've gotten here, so it's been a year. And the cost will obviously just keep rising every year we don't do
mhm.
it.
Well, I'll put medium.
Start with cost and then decide how important it is.
Right, put medium in terms of cost. And I don't think, I checked with Pete Fellows and he mentioned that there had been funding. There isn't anymore,
Right.
so it would have to be local. Okay, well, I think that's a good list to start with.
When you say local funds, you mean going to the town meeting and asking them for money?
Budgeting for it for next year.
Okay.
Mhm.
If it's important, we'd wanna know, like, why is it important to you? Cause we could never understand why it's
Okay.
important. You know, we heard
Okay.
other people say it's important to them, but like, we're not
Okay.
gonna fund it unless it benefits the town.
Okay,
That was the stance.
understood.
And then just under disaster prevention, preparedness and response, I've added that there's a new emergency highway natural disaster reserve fund as of 2026. I've also just included, change pre-disaster mitigation, local hazard mitigation plan, which the town did in 2022. I included some information regarding the Plymouth zoning ordinance, limiting the slope of new driveways to 12%, which is a form of mitigation.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, where did that 12% come from?
That's in the zoning.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering who, did
That's,
somebody just pick that out of the hat, or?
anything above that, it gets very challenging for emergency vehicles in the winter if it's inclement weather to access properties if there's an emergency. So keeping it 12% is still quite high, but it's trying to balance the needs of a place where you have mountains and hills and it's steep in some places with not making it excessively steep where you can't get to a place if there's an emergency.
I'm just wondering if that was calculated from any engineer, or somebody just said, well, not 11%, well, maybe 14, we'll throw our hat
Yeah.
in and we'll say 12.
12% is pretty common when it comes to
From a manual.
zoning regulations,
Okay.
so.
Is that average
I think you,
of overall towns?
What's
I
that?
think you had the
Is
answer.
it part of the state? or-
That's what I've worked with in other
I
towns that have
think
driveway zoning, it was 12%,
100
so.
A is 12%.
Obviously, if it's lower, then that would be safer, it'd
I
be
think
more
so. I think
accessible,
there's a
but,
sign there that
you
says
know,
that.
it's
This
managing
is a
competing
big
interests.
town.
Yeah, pretty
What's
hard
that?
to get
This
up
is a
on
very
bike.
hilly
Yeah.
town.
Exactly, so.
That's a reasonable number.
Who would
I
make
had
that
a driveway once that
determination
had a
for a
section that was
driveway
17.
application?
It's pretty,
Who would decide
Yeah, I'm
the
trying to
percentage
visualize.
of slope?
yeah, but I think.
So the
I think
percent
100
is-
A is
I mean, that's, if it's in the zoning, then
Yeah, I used to
that's a
ride my bike
standard.
up there.
up.
And someone going for a zoning permit
I used to do
would submit
this way.
a driveway plan and a transect that would show
Okay.
how the slope of that driveway plan changes over time.
yeah, it's
And
scary.
the zoning administrator would simply evaluate
Brakes make
that,
it a
and
little better,
they're like, well,
but still
this
it's
whole
scary.
section over here is 15, obviously
That
that's
tailgate,
not 12. So, yeah, that's generally, that's the approach I've always
I went
taken.
down that.
Are you saying that
It's so
you're gonna take it off like a USGS
scary.
topo map to get that percentage of grade?
The contractor doing the driveway would have to submit the plan as part of the permit application.
It's a new one.
The
And-
notch is 15%.
What's that?
The notch, 100 day,
State
That's
highway.
Yeah,
15, isn't it?
well, it's also pre-existing.
But if
So,
it's a development, an engineer is responsible to give you the percentage grades.
mhm.
But then it's an Act 250 possibly, so.
Well,
does
that's
it
a separate,
supersede ours, or does it still has to abide by ours?
I mean,
I
they
mean,
have
is
to
there-
get
Is there
both.
language for that, I guess, is the question.
Not in zoning, because the zoning is just local.
Right.
If someone has to go to Act 250, and Act 250, that's a completely
They
separate
have to follow your
process.
12% though.
Yeah, so they could they could very well get the Act 250 permit, but not get their local permit because of local regulations, and vice versa.
Okay, so
They're,
driveway
they're
off,
separate.
off a development would go by Act 250 by the state of Vermont, but follow the 12% in the town, according to your.
Well, if it triggers Act 250. So not all
No, I'm saying
driveways
if it
will,
already was, here's a development over here that's Act 250 or Act 2,
yeah.
I don't even know if 249's in play anymore. But that development, so they have to follow, even though it's a state-approved permit, do they have to follow our 12%?
They'd still need a local permit, so they need the Act 250
need the
permit,
information
and
from-
they'd also need a local permit, so they're two different permitting processes
Mhm.
happening in different tracks, and they could get one and not the other, depending on what the regulations are.
Okay, so in your eyes, if it's not a development, an Act 250 development, pre-existing old development, and there's a driveway in it that's 14%. It's
Then
not
that's a
really-
driveway with
there's no
14%.
control over
No.
policing for it.
No, this is, in zoning, it's any new driveway that you're putting in.
Right.
You can get conditional use.
Mhm.
Clemens driveway off of 100A, the one that goes by the gravel pit.
Not sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the one up top.
Yeah.
It's frightening.
And you take it.
So we're getting down to goals, policies, and recommendations, and I don't know if there are any changes that you all saw that you wanted to make to the goals, policies, and recommendations.
Do you want to read this?
I recall the last time we did this, you printed everything out with all your additions in red. Will we have all of that available to us before much longer?
Yes, I mean, this is the same version as what you have, except I mentioned I added the information that Elaine sent.
Yes.
Um,
So anything new
is in red.
is in red.
So I haven't made any changes to the goals, policies, and recommendations. That is primarily up to the planning commission, and that's where we can
Yeah.
make edits, but I look through it and I see if there's anything I flag or see, like, oh, we might wanna look at that language, then I'll flag it, but Nothing caught my eye, so.
Okay.
But it could be policies around, you know, infrastructure, or recommendations on, hey, we want to do this and put this infrastructure in. You know, these are things I won't know, so that's where I rely on you all.
I think we have a broadband policy somewhere too. I don't know if that should be part of this. Seems like we're required to have it for some reason.
Would it be in telecommunications? We're gonna look at that momentarily. So it could be in the telecommunications chapter. And also,
This is telecommunications.
Oh, okay. I was looking at stuff about
let's
utilities.
see, it's saying it found the broadband policy. Okay. It looks like it's policy number 9. But this is under. Okay, no, this is a different section. Yeah, that's under energy, so it's further down. We'll get to that later.
Looking under policies here, the town supports the expansion of three-phase power in all appropriate areas of the town to ensure that economic development opportunities, where would that be? Because three-phase is like.
The
heavy
last
equipment.
recommendation?
We could use it.
Three-phase,
Machine shops.
we have three-phase going up the valley, but not,
Number 10,
not all the side roads.
all commercial and residential dwellings equipped.
Could you use three-phase?
I don't need it. Sometimes, yeah.
Well, we have, like, if there's short-term rental properties,
think-
they all have non-profit.
You
I
guys may
know,
own
and I know
that.
they're
They
all-
don't own bears and stuff. You'll-
I just,
I
thank
believe
you.
now.
Yep. Which was the policy or you were referring to,
I was
Bruce?
asking about
Oh, they did one.
three-phase power, which was the first one here, where the town supports the expansion of three-phase. Three-phase right now goes up 100.
Mm-hmm.
Where else would you need it? You know,
I think
that's
there's a
for-
little that goes up Hawk, maybe,
A what?
up the subdivision, Hawk. I may be wrong on that, but there's a map on Green Mountain Power that has all the three-phase power locations.
Uh-huh.
I knew they might have had it, they had it down below, but I think they took it off this run that goes up and down.
Okay.
I don't know that they have it up on the mountain.
Yeah,
I can't
maybe
answer
not.
that either, I'm not.
Yeah,
they
I
might-
know.
The most feasible use for three-phase power is if someone built a solar power plant, they would need three-phase power to get it into the grid.
So it'd have to be on 100.
Or they would build it if it were economically feasible.
Right,
depending on how
which-
far away it is.
May not be.
May not be right.
Yep. Okay, well, we'll move on. And as always, if there are comments on the utilities and facilities chapter later on, we can go back and make edits as needed. But we'll go to telecommunication facilities. This is a very short chapter, as you all saw. The only paragraph I made significant changes in is paragraph 3. Just elaborating on 248A, what that means and why you have specific language in this chapter for use in 248A with the Public Utility Commission. And then I didn't have any specific goals or policy changes. And it looks like the recommendations are where you have the specific language for the siting of telecommunication facilities. So that's what you want to focus on. And if there are any changes to that, we can make changes or add additional recommendations. But you know, I read through them; they all seemed fine to me. So
I have a question, I don't know if, excuse me, I don't know if this is correct. On the present standards, transmission towers are the dominant telecommunications facilities. To me, a transmission tower is a high voltage electric series of towers. A telecommunications is a single tower that has antenna on it. So if we're gonna put a sentence in there, this to me strikes me as not correct.
where it's
The
up,
third paragraph, first sentence.
You know, like a cell tower as opposed to.
Transmission towers are electric, you know, like
Yeah,
450
that
kV.
should be telecommunication tower
okay.
in the third paragraph, first sentence.
Right. Yeah, just changing the transmission tower, the transmission would do
To
it.
ensure adequate.
Versus-
Oh, okay. Telecommunication towers. Got it. I see it now. Took me a minute to track it down.
We don't really have any transmission towers in town. We have the distribution, but no.
Just normal.
So you got two paragraphs that talk about telecommunications.
Those are very
3
controversial
and
in New
4.
Hampshire.
Isn't the big thing supposed to be
We
this
may look at
DC
that.
power line
Huh?
that comes
We
down?
may look at
Canada
that.
or
So
something?
when that changes to that, we've got two.
That's the
Yeah.
first
Okay.
I've heard of it.
Okay.
Paragraphs.
Maybe,
that's-
Not sure.
Shortened a bit.
Yeah. You're basically gonna turn it into one, it looks like.
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, if there are no recommendations right now, it's totally fine. We can always circle back if there are changes we want to make at a later date.
I don't think we'll ever have tower proliferation here.
Do we have any concern about cell towers being located in like tops of mountains that are in people's scenic vista?
Well, I think a lot of that's covered in the recommendations language. You see it.
We don't have
I'm just
we
trying to
have a ridge line
find.
since I've been gone, have we created a ridge line there?
So to minimize conflict with scenic so
Windmills.
under recommendation 3,
Ridge line
Ridge line control.
for houses.
to minimize conflict with scenic values, facility design construction shall employ the following principles: be sited in areas minimally visible to the traveling public from residential areas, historic buildings or sites, public use areas, public outdoor recreation areas such as hiking trails. And then it talks about screening, so to limit its visibility from public vantage points, or utilizing certain materials to kind of avoid adverse visual impact. So you're getting a lot of that right there.
And we only have one in town, I think, on Grandview Road.
Mm-hmm. I did just
Usually
make
sensitive
one
area. Number 7 covers that.
change here, just District Environmental Commission to Public Utility
Yeah.
Commission.
Down here, number 3 in recommendations.
Okay. Well, I'll leave this for now. I'll just save it. And then I did want to take a look at the two maps. And we can start with the transportation map. What we'll essentially do is we'll take the most recently updated transportation layer. I don't think there will be much, if at all, that's changed. So I expect this map to remain largely the same. I'll try and zoom in just for folks looking at on screen. It's a pretty simple map just with the roads on it. And then I'll open the utilities and facilities map. And this one, I'm mainly just looking, are there utilities and facilities that are not mentioned on here that we want to highlight or point out? I'm also thinking it has a labeling system on that comes across as very messy because it's showing forest parks and recreation all the time, and I don't know if we want that simplified so there's not so much text.
All of the green areas are forest parks and recreation, right? Yeah.
I think it's a mix, so forest parks and recreation, but then also fish and wildlife.
Mhm.
But I don't think that needs to necessarily be stated every single time, because the map starts to look very cluttered. As you can see, kind of in the center of the map here, there's just a lot of text. So my recommendation is that we try and clean that up and simplify it.
Just so long as you have a good key.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
I was thinking the same thing, Laura.
Yeah, so maybe swap it out for a key. Yeah, out the bottom.
I don't know if it's appropriate on a utilities map, but I do think something that probably precludes utilities from happening is there's conserved lands through Forest Legacy here, that's Bridgewater. And then in this area, there's a lot of it, right here as part of that Green Mountain Bear Corridor,
Okay.
and that's not showing.
That's all conserved?
Yep, permanently conserved, it's considered public lands. I
It's
know,
considered
managed.
public lands. It's not on here.
Yep,
Okay, but it's not state-owned?
nope, but the state has the right to inspect it. You know, like we have, Forest Legacy from FPR comes out at least once a year,
So it's like land that's under conservation easement?
easement, yep.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, that's something that could go on here. It's not necessarily like a town utility, but,
We can't put wind turbines on the ridge up
Yeah.
there, I know that, but because of
okay.
it.
And that comes up in the energy chapter
Okay.
with the
Okay.
energy maps too, in terms of constraints, so.
Amherst Lake, right here.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell is that?
Oh, I got one here. So. I'm not sure why it says Amherst.
Seem to have Amherst Lake located in two separate areas. There's the actual Amherst Lake here,
Mm-hmm.
and then way over by Shrewsbury says Amherst Lake.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna talk with Pete and see if we can clean this up.
I don't
Is
know
that-
if there's
is that
any
Tiny
other
Pond that they're trying to-
inconsistencies.
No, Tiny Pond is,
That's down here.
um,
So that's Nineveh, that's what that
Yeah.
is.
'Cause it has a lot of labels that we don't
Yeah,
necessarily
you're right,
need.
that doesn't belong anywhere near there.
Okay.
Not even a mistake.
Okay, but we got the library in Tyson. Any other buildings or like small parks that we need to account for?
There's a church building in Tyson and inns. I don't know if that's, there's two inns there.
Okay. Are they public or they just kind of,
They're businesses,
okay,
yeah.
got it. And there's a church.
Yep, there's a church.
So the last thing, just to switch gears a little, the last thing that I wanted to cover is the initial public forum, which I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting. It would be good to hold that this fall, potentially late September, if that would work. It won't require any planning on the planning commission's part, it's just making sure that there is a meeting scheduled. And then I'll put together the outreach materials, I'll have a presentation, put together, the future land use map, the town's current future land use map, and I'll have some food available. The thing that I would need is help with outreach in terms of getting the word out. So I'll prep the materials, but I need someone to kind of send it out into the world. Because
Town crier.
the town crier, okay. Is
Sorry.
The Plymouth Press.
I was gonna say, there is a press. It's like, I know there's a press, it's not the town crier.
Can this coincide with a regularly scheduled planning commission meeting?
Yes, yeah.
And it would need to be the first Tuesday of the month.
Town crier.
So could we make it October?
October would work, yeah,
Because September's
I think most people read
yeah.
the Facebook page.
And that would be which day?
I got a map
Tomorrow,
over here.
regarding what people need to do to protect themselves and all of this.
Just so I can put that into my calendar.
It would be October 6th.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I have that free, but I will double check.
Was that wild?
That was not me, no.
That was a
Jay,
medical,
Uh-oh.
No.
so.
medical for where?
Chapman Road. So, but I'm not responding to that one.
It's just medical though.
Yep.
Because this didn't go off.
Yep.
That usually goes off when it's a medical too.
I don't know why I didn't.
Okay, so October 6th, it works for me.
Okay.
I expect, so the presentation would be maybe 25 minutes, half an hour, and then afterward, we taking questions, anything related to town plans in general, but also the town plan update and the process for it and the timeline. And then, yeah, it shouldn't be more than an hour.
I think the main thing that people are gonna be asking about are the changes in the land use, chapter, which we won't have covered by then, I don't think. So can that be discussed?
Well, it can. My understanding is the changes in the land use chapter would largely be whether the plan commission wants to make changes to the village center.
Okay.
Because in the regional plan, the village center has gotten a little bigger, and Tyson's village center has gotten a little bigger too. So the town plan future land use map could reflect that. It doesn't have to.
And it won't necessarily have been approved or disapproved by that time either, probably, right? October? What is the deadline for approval of the regional plan?
Like the end of December.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that won't have.
No, so that's still percolating.
Okay.
The, yeah, so anything related to town plan
Could be.
will be, yeah, we can discuss, but you're right, we won't have covered the land use chapter yet.
Right.
So, that will be later on. So we have Plymouth Press. Is there a front
Facebook
porch
page.
forum, Facebook page?
would have to go into the newspaper, and how many, the usual way to post a warning for that?
It doesn't, because it's just a public forum. This
Okay.
is just for the grant, so this
Okay.
isn't like a statutory process, it's
Yeah.
just part of the grant process. So we have to hold 2 public forums, and
Not warned.
yeah, I mean, a warned meeting, of course, but that's
Yeah.
just the standard warning.
Okay.
And is there a front porch forum?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
That voice
The voice from on high.
right.
She's got your back.
It's up there, in the clouds.
The wizard.
She's here and here.
So I have Plymouth Press, Facebook page, Front Porch Forum. There are other avenues that people will look at.
Here, Elaine, do you consider Plymouth Press notifying Margot? Who does the Plymouth Press column, and she also puts a
Oh,
thing in the.
yeah, we can have, Margot does the weekly,
Mm-hmm.
post for the town of Plymouth and the Woodstock newspaper.
Oh, the Vermont Standard.
Yeah, and we
Oh,
could
great.
probably get it into the Vermont Journal too,
I bet we could put it into the Mountain Times.
and maybe, yeah. So 3
Okay.
papers, let's look at that.
It's really the only real newspaper.
Hmm?
That's the most real newspaper.
Okay, and I may still, because I was in contact with
It's
Margot
very comprehensive.
maybe a year and a half ago. I may be able to track down her email, but
Is it really? Yeah.
if you have it readily available,
Yeah, I'll have
you
to
could
get
just,
it from Ansabel.
yeah,
I can
just
do
forward that
that.
to me.
Or email.
I was working at the lumberyard.
Okay. So then what I would do is I would put together a little
Yeah, I don't know.
introductory summary of, you know, a blurb essentially of inviting people to the public forum. And I can put together a poster as well, just a small poster that we can put up at the town office,
Yeah,
and in different
Oh, okay.
locations in town.
yeah.
So that's
So-
why I was
We
having
can do
trouble.
that.
And then I can have those ready
Have a good night.
to present to the planning commission at the next planning commission meeting
Okay.
in
You were a
September.
lister, huh? I'm glad.
That way everyone will see like, oh, here's a poster, and then in September we can start publicizing for,
What Margot's?
You got it?
T M
Yeah,
M A
thanks.
R R O N.
Thank you for coming, ladies.
thank you.
TDS.net. Bye, Naomi.
It's good to see someone come
Okay.
to hear us
Uh,
deliberate.
TDS.net.
TDS.net.
Got it.
Somebody cares.
So ask them to do a blurb and submit it to Mountain Times. It will go into the Vermont Standard and then the Vermont
Journal.
Journal.
Okay.
That covers pretty much all the newsprint there is to read.
And then is the September meeting fine for me to present that, just
Yeah.
to show everyone like,
Yeah.
oh, here's, you know, a poster,
The
and here's a
September
blurb that will,
meeting is, I think, the 7th. What do you think, Frank? You got a calendar?
The 7th
No,
was
Labor Day is the 7th. It's the
Okay.
1st of September.
The 11th?
it would be,
September 1
The
is
8th?
First Tuesday.
The 8th, the Tuesday
Oh.
after Labor Day?
No,
It's
February, or September 1st.
September
is the first
1st.
Tuesday in
September
Oh,
1st.
yeah, September 1st.
okay.
It's only a couple of weeks away.
Around the corner.
10 weeks to September. Summer, I figure summer's over around August 15th.
Yeah.
Everybody goes back to school.
In Vermont, the summer is spent getting ready for winter.
I think
Yes, definitely. If you want any
at the
contract
next
work,
meeting,
that's the way it is.
I think we'll be covering, if there's time, we can go through the natural resources and scenic
It's
resources
depressing to think
chapter
that there's more
in September.
More
Natural
white ones
resources.
than green
Than
ones.
scenic resources, and then we can review the
I don't blame you.
outreach materials, like the poster and the blurb,
Okay,
and after that, I can send it to Margot and everyone, because we're still very early.
yeah,
I think a month out is enough time to
Yeah.
get it in newspapers.
so one chapter then for September,
I am just
natural and
drained.
scenic resources, or that two separate chapters?
It's, yeah, just chapter 7.
Okay,
And this summer has
So
been
which one was that you're
bad.
gonna do?
Well,
Yeah.
there's some that
The
That's-
natural resources,
Natural
scenic
resources.
resources, and historic resources.
selling an awful lot of space trees.
I just certainly could stove. Campbell stoves, doesn't bother me.
Well, I think that is everything that I have. I have everything I need to work with in terms of preparation
That's why we
for
live here and not in Miami.
public forum.
yeah.
And are there any questions for you?
Yeah, it's good.
Great. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Kyle.
So you're going to email the changes that are in red, or are you gonna send that to us for me to distribute to everybody? Or no?
I made a couple of changes, so I can,
Not
I
that
can,
many, I know.
not that many,
Yeah,
and they're all tracked.
okay,
So I could send the update, but everyone saw them. So like I could send it after this meeting if you all want. But they're gonna remain in here until the end of the process, so. Yeah, essentially, kind of, my process is we do the chapter and then we move to the next chapter and we've made a couple changes in here. If I make changes after the meeting, say I make a comment based on, for example, what Jay brought up with the police services, we'll cycle back to that and I'll say, this is the language that I've added in this chapter. But that's mainly what we'd focus on. So we wouldn't be looking at the whole utilities and facilities chapter again. We'd be looking at, I made these changes to the police section. We look at that and then we skip ahead to the next chapter. If that makes sense. Cool. Great. Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we have a couple of items left. Next on the agenda is to discuss appropriate questions for a townwide survey. The survey having to do with any recommendations for the town plan, anything people would like to see implemented, changed, or added in. I don't know if anybody has given this any thought. We've talked about it before. Maybe we don't need to add things, but we need to engage people and get their input and get them involved in this. So asking questions, the hard part is, what do we ask? What do we need to have answers for? Or what can we anticipate other people wanting? I don't know the best way, I don't know any way that's a good way to come up with this.
I don't think the public's that engaged.
I can just see us spending an awful lot of time on a survey and have nobody show up. Based on, Yes.
We're advertising this meeting, right? Maybe we tack that on too and just say like, hey, a survey will be available at that time if you wish to participate. That will affect, I don't know.
And if I can, because I'm working with another town on a housing priority survey, it's very challenging to get people to respond to a survey.
Yeah.
Even a survey that has less than 20 questions, and they're multiple choice, so it takes all of 10 minutes to fill out. I think keeping it very short, keeping it broad, but maybe doing a theme, like if there's a specific topic that people are really motivated around.
Yeah,
And keeping it 10 to 15 questions max.
What about having less questions
And how,
and having a place to write in their thoughts, because we're giving them our thoughts. Maybe,
Yeah.
if they do want to engage, what are you, maybe we're
Mm.
missing something here.
Hmm.
What are their thoughts? Give them like 2 lines to put something else in. You ever done that?
any
And-
suggestion, in other words, any suggestions?
Yeah, better word.
Does it make sense to do a survey after the planning meeting? Because then we could get some feedback maybe from the people.
Well, like he said, the forum,
Is there enough time?
You're gonna have a
that's where you're
captive
gonna get the
audience,
people.
so.
Or you're not
Just
gonna
as
get
an
it.
idea.
And as far as,
Right.
as far as disseminating these surveys, do
That's
we
where you
have
find
to
out what the concerns are.
send them out to
It could be
everybody in
50 people
town, or
showing up
would we
talking about
have them
181.
here at
Right.
the meeting?
You know, and we're over there worrying about
For people who
communication towers.
show enough initiative to come to the meeting, let them take the survey.
Or interest.
What I've
Yeah.
done, and it is a little extra work, is I make the survey digital, but then I also have a paper copy. So you need to make it, so like it's usable for someone that prefers to write out by hand, but then you can have a QR code and someone can access the survey that way. The challenge being, if someone fills out by hand, someone on the planning commission would need to go and transcribe what they've put in their survey into the survey platform, the digital survey platform. It's not difficult, it's just time consuming. If you get 5 or 10 people that fill it out in paper and you're going one by one, having to fill it out, duplicate it essentially online. But that's nice because you can have copies in the town office, and you can also post on, the Plymouth, I'm forgetting the name of it, but
Our website.
Yeah.
right, the website or the various
Press.
Facebook, Plymouth Press.
yeah.
And you can say we have, if you prefer to fill it out, a paper copy, they're available in the town office, and just return them to the town office. But then having it accessible via a link or a QR code digitally too.
You're probably gonna get more with the digital. People that just don't have the time or don't really wanna come to the public thing. nowadays.
Yeah,
I think mailing them out to everybody is an unnecessary expense,
Agreed.
because most people are gonna trash it. But if we can get the message out that we have surveys available, if you're interested in participating, come pick up a copy at the town office. Just a thought.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, and we could also have it where they could print it from home, maybe off of the website too, and then just drop it off or mail it to the town.
Do we have the ability to do that? Is there somebody involved with our website that can do a survey in a printable form?
And do you have any thoughts in this?
There are some various companies that you can do a survey through, like SurveyMonkey. We could also try to do one that's pretty simple and put it online. I used to be able to do a lot of that stuff, but it's all changed faster than my capacities, but I am trying to learn how to do a PDF, fill-outable PDF. have got the right thing to do it, but that, I think a survey needs to be I think putting it online is really important, because most people are much more likely to click on and do something that's quick. These days, I'm not sure they're gonna write a ream of stuff, but if you ask a short and to the point kind of question, you might get some answers, so that's worth thinking about, but I'm not sure a paper survey, well, maybe for some of us older people it might work, but, I think more people are inclined to look at the digital stuff and not lose it.
But who on this board has the time to deal with that? You just talked about how you
What,
had.
you just volunteered?
No, I said who? No, I did not. It's beyond my capabilities.
Yeah.
Depend on when, whether I could do it or not.
Maybe you just, oops, sorry.
Well, first we need to have some questions.
Right.
Didn't we have some in
I
this?
think that's how we start.
Didn't you have, you had a list of questions in the last meeting? Yeah,
Are you
didn't
looking
you have a
at me?
list of questions that we had from, that you had from before?
Oh, yes,
I think it's actually in my stuff.
I have it
I think
What we
I-
could do,
I do
we
too.
could go through that and make markups, and at the next meeting, we could make some adjustments, if that makes sense.
It's on the back of one of these packets. But maybe
We've
the,
been
here. You want the
putting
survey
this
from
off.
20,
isn't that what you,
Meeting after
Yeah.
meeting.
I think I even have it here if I can find
And
it.
your suggestion's a good one,
In
but
the stuff.
essentially it's putting it off to the
But
next
you had a
meeting.
list of questions that we,
If we
oh,
could,
no, we had.
One,
if
my
we
Things
could
to consider, right
brainstorm
here.
here for
Oh.
20 minutes
Oh, that goes on the back of the planning.
and try
That's
to
what we
come
were
up
gonna do,
with
planning zone.
what else are we
a
looking
dozen
for?
questions.
That is part of it.
And then
It's
leave
like
room
suggestions
for
of what we do.
Yeah,
I
suggestions
mean,
or
it's not
comments.
exact, but it
That
Yeah.
might be
falls
enough.
into it.
But we need
this
questions.
survey questions tend
because I
to
was
be
gonna
what
say,
they want.
it's very easy for me to plug in survey questions into Google or Microsoft Forms. So I could put together, if you all have the questions,
Well, that is where we're at.
right, I am happy to like plug it in because it doesn't take much time. And then there'd be a link and everything, it'd be digital.
Yeah.
But the crux is, what questions do you
What
ask? And
questions?
that takes time to figure out.
Well, let's come up with one question. If we can come up right now with one question, that will lead to the next one. It's that
Well, you
first
know,
question that's the
I-
hardest.
You know, Mike, you know what I would put? I would put,
What?
and it was in, Elaine put it
Yeah,
in
it's in
the
the
agenda.
minutes.
It's, rank in importance to you, property owner rights, the environment, open fields, you know, something along those lines. And that was taken from another survey.
Well, let's get specific. Let's pick 4 items that you can put in order. 4 of the items that you think are the most important, since you brought this one up.
Okay, I'll say, preserving ridge lines.
Do we have ridge lines in Plymouth to preserve?
The whole town is a ridge line.
Oh, we're in.
That's for them.
Where do you see them from?
From my house.
Like, me too, from my backyard, like it's, when you go up 100, you're following the ridge that goes down into the Black River and the lakes,
Okay.
on both sides of the street.
I'm asking this only to be sure that we know what we're talking about. So we have enough ridge lines to make this a question, right? Maybe ridge
Yes.
lines and peaks.
Okay, could say that.
Are you writing this down, any chance?
Preserving ridge lines and peaks, but what is the question? How do you feel about preserving?
Do we want to say, please rank the following of importance?
So that's
you.
the first item, those
Okay,
ridge
Rate the
lines
following.
and peaks.
should it be
Or what's another item?
To me, the most controversial issue, and you know more about this than me, is what you're gonna discuss on 181. And I think getting people's attitudes on that, if there's anything that we could do about it, that seems to me to be one.
Next item would be, preserving individual landowner property rights.
Right.
I mean, that's a must to put in
Yes.
there.
Well, it also should say, how do you feel as a Plymouth resident? So we're just doing it about more regulation, less regulation. What is your opinion of where we're at?
Everybody's gonna say less regulation. Maybe
Well,
not.
maybe not. Different group of people here now.
Opinion of
Well,
level of
it's
regulation?
in terms of
Hmm?
rating,
Level
so
of
then the next would be,
regulation?
say, something with the
Or-
environment. Maybe people
How does it
choose the
say that?
environment
Regulations
over
by-
individual property rights.
Well, I think level is a
That
good
could be
word.
the only question you ask. Mr. Wright.
So how many items do you have
Well, I
right
need-
now?
Yeah.
Separate items?
Okay,
Two.
preserving ridge lines and peaks, rate the following of importance. And then the following being,
Well, that's one of
okay.
the following. The heading
Ridge
is
lines is one.
rate the following items first to last, most important to least important, right?
And what would be the other ones
So
besides the ridge
preserving
line?
the peaks and the ridge lines is one item.
Okay,
I think another one would be, are you satisfied with the level of commercial development in the downtown areas, the central villages? And what kind of commercial development would you be in favor of? What do you think we need? What do you think is feasible, that kind of thing?
That's nice.
commercial development,
Sentence.
level.
I don't do anything short, that's your job.
What's the big word, clean industry?
Preserving
I wasn't thinking
individual.
of industry so much, that's the
property.
second question.
What was
Just
it?
commercially, I mean, do we want a Dollar General in the middle of town? That kind of stuff.
Let me just read this.
Well,
We already don't have that, and, our zoning leaves out.
Non-formula retail,
Formula.
or formula retail.
That's a good question. Would we allow would you want to see formula retail allowed?
that's a good idea.
I.e.
On Route 100
McDonald's,
or
Starbucks.
100A?
They're not coming here.
Do we need, well, that's a good question though, right?
Definitely.
God, I know you wanna throw something out. What do you
I'll leave you all to come up with the questions.
We start to
But
brainstorm.
I'm happy to, like, when there are questions, to kind of throw them all into a Microsoft Forms, if that's the easiest method to
Thank you.
kind of get it out there.
I'll get back to you in an hour.
Yeah. Right.
Kyle, thank you
Fast
very
turnaround.
much.
I don't
Yeah,
think that,
thank you.
Can I make a quickie suggestion from out here and wherever you think you're seeing me, I have no idea? That we each take the responsibility to come up with a couple and put them all together. There is a science of creating surveys in terms of how you start to kind of draw people in. And don't whack them over the head with the hardest, more controversial question first, or you probably will just not get what you want. But I'd be happy to create a couple of my own and maybe introductory stuff. If we all did that within the next couple of weeks, then Elaine could put
Yeah,
them
they
together.
will definitely have it done next meeting.
Because we're not gonna
And,
sit here up with a survey.
well,
That-
therein lies the rub. We have had this discussion the past 2, possibly 3 meetings about coming up with questions, and it hasn't happened. So what I was hoping to do was get our first question right now, which it seems like we've done, and now maybe we can come up with another. If we sat here in for 20 minutes, we might have our survey.
It would be higgledy-piggledy, I'm afraid, but if you start out with something like, what do you most appreciate about the town of that, what you wanna preserve, you might have more.
So why don't you give us, right now, a question?
Me, because, I just did.
I think that was a good one. What would you like to see? Just restate it and we'll write it down.
I think it needs an introductory paragraph, I'm not gonna create that. What do you most care about? I would need to write it, that's not, my brain doesn't work that, the way you're talking, so.
Sounds like you're doing good.
At the town of Plymouth.
That's such a
And
What you wanna preserve
rural
most, she said.
your question.
blah, 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 blah.
But I see, what if,
I think
if you'd like
that actually last meeting, Mike Scamilio made that question, Ann, listen. Check up the 3 of the following areas that you feel are important to protect or preserve. Open fields and pastures, historic structures and adjacent lands, trails, ancient and class 4 roads, are those?
Sounded like, I don't
And they
mean,
would come in a second question. So the first one is, what do you love? Second, what do you want to keep? What's your most top priority? And then, however, I don't know, I've just been to an appointment that sort of fried my brain,
Okay.
so I should probably shut my mouth and let you
Make-
guys work it.
maybe just asking, what do you love about Plymouth? And not make it multiple choice. Let's see what happens. There's just as one question.
Yeah, that's a good
Because
idea.
Elaine, I think
What do
you
you wanna
covered-
keep?
You covered
And then
more than
there's
one with that
the
statement.
question that
Yeah.
you.
That was like
proposed.
3 questions.
Yeah,
So there's, now you got like 5 already tonight.
Getting there.
Right, and then you could ask them what they look forward, what are they looking forward to doing in Plymouth when they.
I think we could also ask, what services would you like to see provided for you?
Okay,
Would-
and not list them. Let people think about
Are
it
there
and write
services
something
that
down.
you would like to see
Right.
brought to the town of Plymouth? An example that I have, simply because it came via an email, was a community care
Mm-hmm,
nurse
right.
who would provide care, transition care, when Visiting Nurse Association left off, but the person was at home and still needed transportation, still needed doctor's appointments, etc. The thing is, when I read our first utility and facility plan, I realized that Thompson Senior Center provides our town with a
Yeah.
community care nurse. So I
But
thought we
don't,
would be duplicating those services.
well, we don't want, that's a good question, but don't
Don't
give
say
choices.
what it is, yeah.
Just ask the question and have a few blank lines for people to briefly state what they'd like to see.
You mean give
Something.
them choices to,
Maybe they want a basketball court,
Well, maybe they want bus transportation.
maybe they want fireworks.
isn't that the reason we were gonna give them a line or two to put their comment in, not just
Yeah,
what
A
we
dog
created?
park.
not what we think.
Yeah, because that's not a survey. If you're not looking for their opinion that we haven't already written,
Yeah,
that's my idea.
so having a blank, a
Yeah.
question with a blank line.
Maybe 1, maybe 2, you know, you don't wanna get it too trashy, but
Yeah,
Would you support
give them,
a multifamily?
we're looking for these
affordable
things.
housing
Maybe somebody's got a lot
development?
better idea
What
that
would be the maximum
doesn't have time to be
size?
here or wanna be here,
right.
These
but
are
has
probably
some good
more-
ideas that
These,
been
I
here
think, are
forever.
real questions that are on people's
Or
minds.
not
That's a
even
good
been here forever,
question. Why
just
don't you state
that
that?
is, hey, you people need
Yeah,
this.
and
that
where
is
would you
good.
put it?
What?
Where
That
would
is a
they-
good question.
where would
Frank
they
has
want
an
it?
excellent question.
What?
Would you support an affordable housing project in Plymouth?
Yes.
And what would be the maximum size that you would think would be suitable for the town?
That's a good question.
I think you gotta go back to the jobs that are available in the surrounding area. Cause that's what it's all about, and that's a tough one.
People are looking for help.
People looking for help, people looking for housing,
Right, what was your
Yeah.
second
that they can
part?
afford to live here.
Yeah.
Blue
Right.
collar can't,
Right, that's
Well,
what,
can't
Frank,
live
what
there.
was your second part after would you
Oh,
support
God.
housing project?
How many units?
And
How many units would you think would be suitable for the town?
This is
And
why
should
I
they
have to
be
go back
rental
once a
versus, should they be rental versus home ownership?
year. Many units
No, that's,
and rental versus.
Yeah, what's the
home.
definition of
lot of
affordable?
detail.
I'm thinking like section 8, you know, people on
Well, this is my
government
point.
assistance.
Everybody says we need affordable housing, but when the
What's the
rubber meets the
definition?
road, I don't know if you, Cambridge, Mass, had some law that said you could put multifamily houses in neighborhoods, which sounded great, and then all of a sudden, 6-story buildings are, 2-story houses are being knocked over, and 6-story apartment buildings are being built, and everybody's saying, what do we do here?
how many questions now do you have?
What do you care most about?
Yeah, just how many?
What, 1, 2, 3,
He's a
4.
results guy.
4?
What do you love about Plymouth? What services would you like to see? And Frank's affordable housing, and also preserving ridgelines and peaks,
Uh-huh.
With landowner rights in there, right?
preserving individual property owners' rights.
Property owner, landowner rights.
Unless you live on the river.
Feeling it's gonna be the winner.
You could put it down by where the Hawks abandoned the inn and
Yeah, that's what I was thinking last night.
put it right in
Yeah,
there.
yes,
Okay,
You know how many rooms are in that place?
How do you feel about buildings, I'm gonna have to throw this out, and it's gonna have to get rephrased, but how do you feel about buildings in town owned by, out of
Residents
state,
or
second
non-residents?
home, that are in
Corporation.
disrepair,
blight,
but
blight,
obvious.
They call
That
them
is-
blight,
That,
Oh, no, you're not talking about second home, you're talking about abandoned.
Abandoned,
Yeah,
you know,
buildings.
just,
they call
Since,
them-
that's a good question, since we have considered
yeah,
doing something.
but if there's enough support, maybe then
buildings owned, well,
Just abandoned buildings.
that are.
abandoned,
Buildings in disrepair.
abandoned buildings,
Disrepair.
but they have to
Disrepair,
be
dis-
highly visible.
Abandoned, highly
You
visible.
know, if they're way back in the woods, nobody cares.
There's other towns that are dealing with this.
Yeah.
Well, we have,
There's
so
a
we have.
formula somewhere.
Well, we've got 'em right on
Grandview,
100.
We have the burnt out condos on
Yeah,
Grandview. We have the White House down here, which is on the historical
And there's
one.
one on Route 100A before you get to Rudy's, that's
Yeah.
Kilburn.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
What I would stay away from is getting into these, excuse me, pissing match type questions like second homeowners
Uh-huh.
are doing this,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because they don't go anywhere.
The
No, there's
one
no
thing
point.
about that is that it removes the value from your grand list, so that you have to keep in mind that
it's hard to,
he does, the guy Dave, who owns that White House, he does pay some money on it through the taxes. And the Grandview people, that's why we didn't bring it to 0 on the grand list, we maintained it at 10,880
yeah.
to make sure that the town was still receiving some money on the grand list, so.
Well, that one is on a road and it is visible. Down here on 100, it's highly visible.
Yeah,
And
And
the
it's-
trade-off, I mean, I don't know if anything can happen anyway, but it'd be nice to know what people think.
yeah,
Mm. Yeah.
That's a start.
yeah.
How about one more question?
Would people like to see less salt used on the roads in wintertime?
Yes. How do you feel about salt
Yeah.
on the
What
roads?
would you use instead of salt?
Sand.
Oh, okay.
Now, I wanna see the
Gravel.
salt, because we go to calls where people roll the cars over and slide off Notch Mountain, 100A. And most of those calls were because the state made a new rule in the fall to shut down at 8 PM and start at 8 AM.
Really?
And we had, when they did that, not salting the roads, we had, how many, Jay? I don't know, but it was constant, you'd almost call it constant. one a week.
Hmm,
And then we had to try to get there with the apparatus.
yeah, it was just as hard.
And Notch Mountain, we couldn't even, but
Put your
luckily
chains
we've
on.
got, well, Larry takes care of it. The town was salting 100A in Notch Mountain so we could get to the scene.
Yeah.
So maybe in places, but I gotta say for the highway and general population, maybe there's some other thing they can use. They tried all kinds of things
What's-
and they ate
don't-
the cars worse than salt.
Doesn't the state use the liquid?
They did, the brine, they used brine,
Is that brine? Yeah.
but
That's all.
It's
Calcium
all-
chloride.
yeah, it's all bad stuff. So, but the salt I think is the lesser of the evils.
The trouble with sand is that in the spring, you have to come in and clean it. It really makes the place like, that's what most places do.
I know.
This town
Yeah,
uses a
one
lot of
those
stone.
big machines.
They don't use,
They used a little.
they don't use the amount of salt a lot of towns, because I was a road foreman in another town, and we used a lot more salt.
Hmm.
Right.
Okay.
Because they use
so-
stone, so,
So don't ask that.
So what's the question?
sorry, you don't want
All right, okay. As I have all the rust on my car fixed.
You just answered the question for everybody.
they oil cars, you know.
Yeah, you gotta oil them.
Or,
There's a guy in Cavendish.
One more question, and we can move on. One more.
What about the dispatch question? And the expected higher cost of that? Do we have to ask if they would approve that, or, you know? that
The town?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's expenditure that size, that's gotta go.
So how do you feel about, I don't know what to ask about that, but we don't.
I don't know if that
dispatch.
can be done on a survey. That's something that's gonna have to happen.
Go to,
I don't think it's a survey question, I think it's a
No.
necessity and it's an emergency.
It's gonna be
Okay.
like a town
Situation.
meeting
So
or
don't put
something.
it out there.
How about putting, what do you feel about police presence? Should we have more police or less policing?
I say police if they're willing to do their job, not just traffic control. Okay, they need to,
Well,
when there's a
forget
call,
that.
when there's a call for somebody breaking into a house, they need to respond to that or stay home, because,
Come on,
Just-
not your
just-
house, Jeff, come on.
not mine,
So
but
it
other
breaks it.
people have that problem. So, no, but there's been a few times, and there's not a lot, and count 'em on one hand, probably over the last
Is this
15 years.
is a legitimate question?
Yeah, what do you mean? Who's, you asking? Am I answering
I
my, his
think I
question?
really, I would like to know the answer to that. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be this survey, but I'd like to know, like, how you value response time, police protection.
I think
So
that's a good way to put it.
oh, that's.
I think that's
Let's,
very
let's
important.
get the wording and make that a question.
Okay,
This
so
is a good
how,
one.
go ahead.
How do you value, police protection and response time?
And it's not consistent, because of us going to the accidents.
Yeah.
We went to one the other night, it was what, a couple of weeks ago up here by Black Pond, and the state police was here. Not far behind us, it was unusual.
They had to be down in Killington.
Hmm?
They had to, because they're out of the Rutland barracks, they had to be down in
Up-
Killington.
up, Since it's on that side.
Are the state police out, like, just patrolling around?
No, I don't think
Areas
they go
where
on
they-
call.
I've never
They're
seen a
somewhat.
car on
but
Route
it's
one
just a
hundred
call.
out here.
Cop out.
Not here, but I see them on Route 4,
Yeah.
but very, if they're
Not
going
what you
here,
used
they
to see
usually
them
have their blue
sitting
lights on, going somewhere.
I thought you were talking about the sheriffs,
The sheriff.
because I don't know what our deal is with the sheriffs, but they're just,
13 hours a
Speed.
week.
Yeah, you
I thought he said it was
usually-
16, the guy I talked to up
Mm.
here. He said like 16,
Yeah.
been on 16.
I think it's 13, but 16's close.
Either way, but the only concern I've got is what I've seen where somebody needs them from beyond traffic.
Yep.
You know, hey, somebody's at my house, or, oh, we've had problems.
I had an
Up
incident
here.
yesterday, called 911. Rutland responded with state police. Took a while for them to get, because it's a drive, right? They're not,
Mhm.
so, and then I called the sheriff's department and just said, hey, could you just drive through? And they're like, well, check and see if we got somebody on. I don't.
Which, we'll check and see if we got somebody on.
You know, I got 500 kids. I just like all I have to do is drive through.
That's what
Yeah.
she surprised me, it's a business.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you're just looking for everybody else's comment, not ours.
So what does
Yeah,
that
well,
put
I
us
know-
at as far as number of questions?
Up on Lions Hill, the state police were up there about 10 days ago, because that guy who was
Police.
trying to camp at the store was up there, went into Rebecca's chicken coop and was eating raw eggs and she caught him. And she was nervous because she's pregnant and she has a little kid and her husband or boyfriend works all the time, so. The police did go up there and,
And sometimes I get the game warden, he's really helpful and he's highly trained. You know, I don't know how state police dispatch gets him, but he's often closer. This is, yeah, I just recognize it as a problem that I have and others might have too. And it's expensive.
Joys of
Yeah.
country living. How many questions are there?
Bruce
Maybe
wants to put his whip away.
7 or 8, I'll type them out and send them out in the
Okay.
morning.
That, you know, that might be the best we're gonna do.
Yeah, and then
7
I'll
or 8
watch the
questions.
video when Will gets it put up tomorrow.
Well, 7 or 8, and then our 2 blanks for their suggestions, as you
Yeah.
said.
Any suggestions?
There's your 10, and I think 10
and
is
then
plenty.
maybe Ann will write an introductory
Well,
paragraph.
having those questions is
Yeah.
key.
All right.
That's big. Thank you all so much.
You're very welcome.
We did it.
Okay.
Good idea to pursue it.
So I added something onto the agenda, and that is, Elaine and I have been going to a couple of the meetings with our regional commission, going through their wording, the maps, everything that they've been doing. And there have been people from other towns there, and we've been hearing a lot of complaining about language, shall not have. And it was explained to us that all of that applies to Act 250 issues. When we write our town plan, we don't have to use those words. They're not telling us how to write our town plan. That's entirely different. So that's it just doesn't apply. I'm not saying I'm in favor of that language, and the reason for that is the maps. The biggest issue in my mind is the new mapping scheme. And this isn't on Two Rivers. This is on the state legislature. They dictated what they want the 11 regional commissions to come up with in their regional plans. This is something they have to do. And the real problem is that the new maps are in place for 20 years. That's it, written in stone, 20 years. Regulations, however, relating to these different maps can change within that 20 years. So I want to get something out, 2 things. One of them is to Plymouth residents, urging them to find what their property is right now on the map, what the designation is, and then look at the new map and see how it may have changed and what that means to you, primarily if you ever wanted to sell it or if you wanted to build on it. What kind of regulations are you going to be running into that you haven't seen previously? And these will most likely only happen if what they want to do triggers Act 250. So they need to know the map.
So, like, I looked at that map and I looked up, like, we were classified as nature-based recreation. I don't know what that means. They list a few things, but
Well,
That can
when,
mean
when
anything
you,
down
if
there.
you go
Yeah,
to, trorc.org, the first thing that comes up is the, the
resource
new
base reg-
regional
Oh, yeah.
plan.
Oh, I've read it all, and I've read their
Yeah,
explanation.
you sent an
I just
email,
don't know
And
what
if
it
you-
means.
If you scroll down, it's like, I think the second page, certainly no
Mhm.
further than the
Mhm.
third.
Yeah.
There's a link to the new map.
I've looked at, which I'm also looking at.
Unfortunately, that map is the whole region. It isn't just Plymouth. So you have to scroll down carefully and to the west carefully, because Plymouth is at the very bottom. The first time I did this, I ended up in Saugerties, New York. So you have to pay attention to the highways. That's the easiest way I've found. You know, look for 89 and from there come over to Route 100 and you can find Plymouth. Once you find Plymouth, you can start enlarging that and navigate to where your property is. And then you'll see what the new designation is. And it's not like they just shuffled things around. All the designations have changed. The old ones are gone and the new ones mean something else.
That's what, we don't know what those mean,
Right.
that's the trick.
My son's land now is conservation land
This is.
on that map.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
also
I read
some
it all.
wetlands up there.
Yeah.
And did they
Well-
have
So
urban
who knows what that means
resource
down the road?
base?
Everything,
Well,
your land too.
You need to know, and along with the need to know, you as an individual have until next Monday, August 10th, to
Challenge it.
send an email to Two Rivers, and it
Oh, I did it.
tells you right there to Kyle Katz, who was here this evening, that you have an issue with the map. That's all you have to say. I am not happy with the map. That gives you standing, so that then you're able to go to the land use,
Review board.
yeah, board, and get into a bit more detail with them.
They've got
Now, we as
in the six,
the planning
it's-
commission,
It's wrong, it
And
says there's only 4 that
the
merit.
select
Here's
board
number 5.
need to
put that
do
on there.
this for the
so they may
town.
be listed here.
All we need to
You
do
can't,
is
that-
send a letter
everything?
No idea.
But you should be
to
listed then.
Kyle Katz
I wrote them.
saying, we have issues with this process as a town.
Yeah, wasn't I was just
And-
gonna ask that.
Then the town has standing to go to the land use review board.
Is that a
So-
state board?
Well,
It's
yes.
Act 250, basically.
Excuse me?
Did
It's
you-
Act
Land,
250.
land
Did
use
you send
review
it as
board,
select board?
I wrote a personal one,
these are actual
And the select-
professionals.
and
They
there's a
know what
draft,
they're doing.
another one.
In
for us.
fact, they have
Because
been looking
planning
at
should
the
do it.
11
Yeah.
different regional plans, and they're shaking their head, apparently. This is all hearsay, because I haven't seen them do it, or talked to them, but the rumors are that they're unhappy with Two Rivers using shall and must to the extent that they have. But we don't know that for a fact. So all we have to do is just simply state that we have issues, and then we have standing, and we can move on. Keep it simple, keep it polite.
But you're saying you gotta do it individually also, if you ever wanna have.
If you look at your property,
Yeah, as an
And-
individual.
there's something about the situation that you're not happy with, absolutely.
Because they said they would look into those.
They will,
emails
they
from
will.
Individuals.
And if, you know, here's the thing too. The region is large. There's 30 towns in the region. And they have remapped the region. There's no way in hell that they could have gone to every one of these properties. Instead, they're using the 30,000-foot view. They're looking down at, you know, at a map and seeing forest and seeing open fields and doing the best they can, okay? I give them credit for that. And now it's up to individuals to look at their own properties and respond. And they will, in many, I think already they have changed properties.
This
you
is a
know.
lot for the average person to, like,
It is a lot,
you know.
And a short
but
time. too.
nobody's gonna do it for
Nope,
you.
I'm just saying.
It-
I sympathize.
It comes down to the old adage, no one is safe when the legislature is in session.
Oh, man, I couldn't,
Yep.
I couldn't
You're not.
agree with you more.
And everybody has voted for this too. I looked at the
Yeah.
list. All our representatives.
Well,
Don't
You know,
vote them
they-
in next time.
It's probably a lot of party lines.
the regional commissions, you know, another thing people were complaining about at these meetings is, you people aren't even elected. We didn't elect you, you know, you're appointed. Well,
They
of
delegated
course
authority.
they're appointed.
Yeah.
Of course they're appointed. We elect a legislature who in turn tries to run the state, can't do it alone, so they appoint different commissions. Just like in town here, we elect select board, they set up the different commissions. We're not all on the ballot. So that's how the system works. And over time, apparently, it works fairly well. But it comes down to the individual ultimately being responsible for their own situation. You can't rely on the government, your mother, anyone to take care of you. You have to take care of yourself ultimately. And in looking at this, I would encourage people to look at their neighbors' properties or anybody that they know. And if I'm gonna have something on the Facebook group tomorrow regarding this, urging people to do this, and to see if there's other people they know that they could help, or at least let them know if they haven't seen this on Facebook. I know not everybody it bothers with that, but I don't know how to reach everybody, I just don't. And there's this time constraint. Originally, the deadline was August 1st, but they changed it to the 10th, which is next Monday. So, if the select board agrees to this, I can write this letter, or Lane can write it, and get it to you tomorrow, and then if you want to take it and send it,
It's gotta get it in the next 6 days.
yeah. It's an email, bang, it's there.
Yeah, good
What did you
idea.
mean, it's not that easy for the average person?
I mean, like, this plan, to like, read and digest that and look at the
Yeah,
maps,
to
like,
try to find your property on the map and.
yeah, it's just a lot.
Yeah.
Well,
This
you know,
is
you can
probably
find,
impossible to
you
do
can
on
find your
phone.
property on the map by following the roads.
Yeah,
You just follow it to find your road,
Well-
go up and say, I'm number
And
3,
know the
and when you,
shape of your property
I thought it
as
was
it
pretty
relates
easy
to
to
the
find.
map.
and when you hover your mouse pointer on a property, a box pops up saying who the owner is, the number of acres, and other
It's
information.
like, by me, it's all.
So like Deb said, use your laptop, not your phone.
yeah, you gotta definitely.
Yeah, yeah. And Debbie, what are the chances of including this information on property cards?
Including if,
What-
how the
The
state is.
category.
The
that-
Yeah, the
category.
category, what I was thinking is, we need the meaning of the categories, and then,
The meanings are all right there in the
Yeah, we have the
document.
meanings.
That's easy.
In fact, if you go online to the map, there's a sidebar with each category that lists a short blurb about them.
Or
so
it's either,
you're looking to see if you could get what they're categorized, their properties
Yeah.
It's an
categorized as?
yeah.
There,
house
here,
system
you want
instead
a
of,
land use-
When somebody goes to buy a
So,
property,
you don't have
you know, they should
choice to-
know
you don't have a
that-
choice.
Right.
that
You're-
property is in a
It's
specific
wetlands.
category.
You have to
Yeah.
pitch to opt out.
do you want me to
Right.
give you this?
Any consumer affairs
The land
thing
use
is,
categories.
would tell you that you
There's
don't have
11
that.
of them.
It's like Comcast saying, you know, you now
It's on the
have.
second or third
But
But if
page
you
of
complain, it
the,
doesn't mean you're opting out,
to
they're
our
just gonna
town.
consider it.
Right, it's the first step.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, the last item
You want a copy?
is continue the discussion of our zoning permit revision.
I'll send you the link.
Elaine went and typed up a third page that should complete this. So everybody has this in their packet.
It is on your table. Are you talking about the,
Yeah, it was on the table when you came in front of you.
Which one you talking about?
Yeah, Bruce, I have one thought on that. It's,
Just one,
just one.
okay.
Why don't we have, for any construction under 200 square feet, there's no fees, or this does not pertain to it?
We're under 200 square feet, we don't need a permit.
Right, but I'm saying we
That's
should,
already in play.
right, but I'm saying we should put it in this, so people know.
okay, you're saying on page 3.
Right,
Yeah, it just
Consider.
isn't a note.
right, but it has to be a little more clear, because if somebody wants to put a bedroom on, you know, that, they're gonna need a permit for that. So it's more of a detached shed or something along those lines.
Right, so what do we want to say on the third page, things to consider? Any structures under 200 square feet do not require a permit?
Correct.
Is that what you're saying? Okay,
Don't we say that? We already say that someplace. It's in the regulations.
Yeah, but
It's in the
it's not on the
regulations, but
zoning,
not on the
on the
permit.
This
application.
form.
Okay, on the
what
permit
our-
itself.
what our
Yeah,
So
goal
I
is
submitted an application
this-
to Angela
yeah.
for a shed I'm building.
with
and I
this
had a
permit
nice package, and she
application, People
I don't-
come in
I
and
don't
say,
accept that.
can I have
Okay,
a
so I'll
building permit
add that.
application? It's
Well,
get
this-
as much information
Saves
on
them
it.
looking it up like we do. Right.
You know, coming in thinking they got everything, and oh no, you still need this, and it goes back and forth. So
Well,
Elaine's
that's
been
good, 'cause they
working
don't
really
have-
hard
'cause
at
it's-
getting everything in one place.
You know, I read the shoreline, is that what you included, that shoreline overlay? And I read that whole thing, and even here, it's the same thing, which struck me as being strange, and I wonder if it was intentional.
What?
It
What's
says
great?
250 feet from mean water level of lakes.
Greater than 10
So that
acres
means
inside.
rivers are not included, only lakes?
That's right.
Yeah, it was always just lakes.
The Shoreland Protection Act is not for rivers.
Well,
That is not, like, what are you getting at?
well, there's a lot of riverfront property there.
Yes,
And a lot of those requirements make sense for a river, you know, leave your vegetation up. Nobody at a lakefront property leaves vegetation on the lakefront.
this is the shoreland overlay rules that we didn't dictate them.
But there are riparian,
These are
river
paying
riparian
off
rules.
for the
that
most
you
part.
will find there.
Right, but what you're saying is that people who are on the rivers don't necessarily have to follow any of that.
Not necessarily, they don't necessarily have to follow the shoreland overlay,
Right.
but they will have other constraints on rivers. They have the, my mind's gone blank on the names.
We can't cut within 100 feet of a stream, I don't think.
I don't have my
I will
book
look
with
for
me.
and find the riparian.
Yeah.
Because we did the marijuana growing place there, was a
Right.
river, not a
Yes,
lake, and we were dealing with floodplain.
yep.
He is very close to the river corridor. And when FEMA
River corridor.
gets done mapping the new river corridors, because rivers move,
Yeah, they're gonna be changed anyway.
Yeah, because that
Your
place
house
was
is
in it.
gonna be right in it.
That's what I'm,
that was pre-existing, but nevertheless, and it wasn't flooded during the flood, but when the new river corridor maps are released, that's going to be, a little bit different, I think.
right. And they don't seem to take into account elevation, because this guy, 1275, Route 100, what's his name?
Oh, Rodniak?
The Russian or Polish guy.
Rodniak.
Rudniak. He came under that, and he's, I don't know, 100 feet higher than the lake.
Yeah,
And that never made sense to me, but that's still,
I understand, it makes no sense to me
he had
either.
Route 100 between the lake and him, that's why he was
He's on the
exempt.
other side of 100.
That
yes,
is
and that's a whole
exempt.
different set of requirements.
Yeah, there's an exemption in that protection overlay that is.
Shoreline Protection Act?
Yes,
Yeah.
Shoreline
So-
Protection Act,
So right now, we have already gone through the first 2 pages. Right now, what we want to do is take a look at the 3rd page and see if you're happy with that, if you can think of anything else that ought to be there so that Elaine can finish this document.
Is there
and get
anything
it
in here on
in
adding?
play.
Oh, yeah, I
Here
read
it is.
No, I thought this was very good.
Is the short-term rental thing okay with you?
I read this before.
Number 6.
Doesn't hurt anyway.
This can always be added to
Oh, yeah.
also.
Yeah.
In a
But this
moment's
was pretty
notice,
thorough,
you
I
know.
thought.
You know, it's so important to try to help people through the process.
Right. Because people say, I didn't know that. I don't know how many times I've heard,
Yeah,
I didn't know
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And it's legitimate.
We try to get everything.
They don't have the zoning regs that we keep in our notebooks. Like, for instance, like Mike said, the simple stuff in the highlighted area here, like, it's talking about setbacks,
Mhm.
and it's talking about something we used to have, I don't even think we had one way back here. But without looking in there,
You don't know.
your driveway, setback from the property line,
Mhm.
does anybody know offhand what that is, shooting from the hip? Is there one? Is there not one?
No, I think there is one.
I'd have to look at the,
I don't think ours is set back far enough from the property
No, but these
line.
people, they're getting all the information to build a new driveway in here. So somewhere it should say, but you
Would
have to
it
be
be on the
10 feet from the
driveway
property.
permit though?
that was on the
I don't think it's
application.
on that,
On the application?
yeah,
I've been a while since I filled one of those.
I don't think it is,
I
because
don't
when I was
think
gonna
it
do
is
that
either.
hot lot, I couldn't see it. I mean, I'm
All
sure
right.
it's in here if I just look in the regs, but do we have an actual, because that's part of what would be in this highlighted area, you know,
So it's the driveway setback from property line.
right. That's the first mistake somebody's gonna make.
Yep.
I don't know, I don't wanna
They
fill
come
your
to the-
page up too much, but I'm
If they
just,
come to the town for a driveway, is that something, that must be something
I
that
don't,
Larry knows, right? Do you think?
probably knows, but I don't know if it ever comes up in the conversation. I'm assuming it's in here, in our zoning ordinance
Here. I got it.
regs. I just asked the question before I actually looked. Because I don't think we used to have it. We had it set back for building.
Ah,
It used to be
would
25
it be
feet.
under sub,
What are we looking here? This one?
What are you looking at?
This
there's
is
a
the
lot of
tier
information on roads
RC.
and driveways.
GIS, TRORC.
Oh, here, we have riparian buffer and stream setbacks in our zoning.
Of what? Sorry.
That would have something to do with river corridors.
Look, this is what popped up.
Right, yeah.
This is what we want to know, the regional plan. So, drive available here, click that. Okay, now as you scroll down. There's that notice about August 10th. But yeah, look, there's a different.
Here is the largest map update is revising the current regional future land use.
Is a
map.
driveway considered a right-of-way?
Not
Is
necessarily.
that current
No.
regional future?
There's
Once in a
Can be.
while,
Utility
not always.
craft, regional future land use area map. Click right on that, and when you get to this, then you just tap in here.
Okay, what did you tap on this?
Like, oh,
You're gonna ask Larry, but asking Larry, it should be written here somewhere anyways.
This is
I
where we
agree.
get-
I'm just looking at the
doesn't say
subdivisions.
map.
I honestly don't think we have one, but I don't,
Driveway setback, all right.
and I didn't see it here initially, just shooting from the hip.
Future land use map.
Okay. No, that's Plymouth down here.
Down here.
Access
Click on
roads
that.
and
Let's
permits,
see how it
Jeff,
come with me. I must have
section
clicked a
three point
different link.
17.
Which one was it?
Because this is a pain in the
Which
ass.
page?
It's on 31 and mine, page
West
31.
Hartford.
The section is, number is
Woodstock.
3.17.
Yeah, there's my house in below.
Bridgewater, and here's Plymouth.
Oh, well, it speaks to
So
how
when you get
far
to
from
this
an intersection.
Plymouth, you can
Mhm.
just, you know,
Yeah.
shoot.
See, those
two
are for the curb cuts,
I didn't get that
basically.
one. Two Rivers Future
Right.
Land Use.
But I don't think it speaks to the
I'll go back.
distance.
This is it
From the
right
property
here. It's
line.
not green.
Yeah, it used to be
New
400 feet.
Rock.
You had to have a
Regional
frontage for
Future
one
Land
per
Use
curb cut,
Area
wasn't it,
map.
Jay? You remember?
I can't remember.
And this is underneath.
I mean, that's
all
immaterial to
this.
this, it's
All
just,
these appendix,
it's a lot less now,
Yeah.
then you go down below
the
that,
frontage. They changed that.
and right here,
TRC.
current regional future land use map.
There isn't anything in here with regards to
Gotcha.
I hadn't seen it, so I
position
thought maybe,
relative to the property
Yeah.
line.
I thought maybe you would know
That's the
is-
one.
if there was such
And
a
then you
thing.
can just click it.
I thought I asked
No,
Larry this
no,
question
no,
last year when I was gonna
that's
do
not
that
what I
hop
wanted.
lot up there that I didn't do, and I was going right in on the line of that one. So I don't think we have anything,
No,
but
but I wondered
I'm not
if there-
positive.
Maybe this green one, draft regional.
I can't
future
find this
land
driveway
use area
permit.
map.
Form online.
Yes, that's the.
But we have the blanks in there.
Not
Yeah.
what you just did, go back.
The new draft
Yeah,
regional
no,
future.
it's in green. Yes, now click anywhere out of it. Yeah, anywhere, not that would,
Well, there's a lot of driveways that go right in at the pin.
right, now you gotta
Property pin,
scroll
so.
down.
I would.
I have to find.
I'm guessing, well,
And to the left,
pre-existing,
and
but
you'll
I'm just
see-
wondering,
I see what
if
you
I
mean.
was
If I
just
get
wondering
it,
if
it's all good.
a few folks have changed it since I haven't been on.
No.
There's West
no.
Hartford on
All right, there we go.
89, I go
But
left,
if,
Woodstock, I found Woodstock, South Woodstock. And there's Plymouth. And if you're going with this map, when you find Plymouth,
Yeah.
then you can keep making it larger, and you can find your place.
so Mike, I'm thinking maybe on
Yeah,
your
it's all-
statement
this is
with
all
regards
floodplain.
to,
Yeah.
structures, what probably might say is you will
See,
need
this
a zone
comes up to
permit for
house,
any
which is
structures
control.
over 200 square feet,
Yeah, we could say that.
and say it that way.
Yep.
If you find, you know, keep going it to where you get
Could
your
we word it the same
property.
way it's worded
This
in
is my
here?
house.
All right, click
But-
on it, click on it.
Which is what she just said.
Oh.
Yeah, that's where I found it.
Oh, the 200 square feet.
Yeah, it was in the,
And it should tell you. your new
when I first joined up, I
designation,
started
everything.
reading all the things, and I
Multi-family
found that
complex.
there. It's
Yeah.
200 feet or less, or
Is that
some,
what you
I don't know how it is
want,
worded.
multifamily?
Yeah, I'm not sure
I
how
think
it's
it was
worded
at
in
one
there.
time.
Okay.
I know it's worded in
But the
here.
line,
No, it's a hippie.
floodplain,
Yeah, it is, it
Yeah.
is, we changed that
it
with
was
the
like
last
3 generations
iteration
of
of it.
Was it?
houses.
So it'd just be a
But the
copy of
floodplain
that
doesn't
language.
come up to the house.
They made Chris
Yeah.
Schulte get a permit.
Well,
No,
if
it's on.
FEMA's gonna redo that
Because
whole.
he-
Yeah, but I'm 10 feet
First
higher,
off.
at
Yeah.
least, maybe,
Because he had,
maybe more.
he hadn't had one,
Good.
he found out. Well, James was paying for
Right.
I
Nope.
don't know if there's any state regulations with regards to driveways with the town.
I don't think so. It says Title 19, Section 111 VSA, but on our permit, there's
So
nothing
what do? I write an email
that's
to
to
TRO?
setbacks.
it. Well, that's something that Larry should know, even if it's,
Yeah.
Right.
because he gives a permit.
Kind of
Yeah.
read.
And I
through
believe I
some of
asked him
that.
last
It'll
year about
tell
hockey,
you.
he said.
I'll
it's
write you
not
a
sure.
bigger one.
It's to Kyle Katz.
So he said that there isn't.
Well,
any-
plus I had,
Elaine, I'm sure
I was gonna
Elaine
put the
has
driveway
that
right down the line
information.
Yeah,
because of
Elaine
limited
knows
space,
every-
which I didn't do, but, and I had a permit for that.
Which is some of these small lots is what you gotta do, kinda, you
yeah,
know? I mean,
yeah, it's true,
Yeah, you don't really have an option to,
yeah.
if you got that, you got a septic site, you got a,
I know the driveway you're talking about, that's right where I'd have gone.
What's
This
wrong?
is a
Up
lot
on Hawk.
easier on a
The
big
lot that
screen.
I bought, that I sold.
Oh, yeah, this is the worst. I'll get on my computer to do this.
So is
Another
that
story.
Okay.
Okay, so I think we're done on the zoning permit revision. You've got all your notes and such, right?
okay?
So that's it, folks. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second. Done.